Hi, you're probably here because you're interested in the SNES Classic Edition, and whether it's worth buying. Well, my name's Crooked, and this is my opinion of the SNES Classic Edition before you buy. Unlike most reviews, we're not going to give a number score here, we're just going to go over if I think this is worth your cash, or, if I think it's trash. Now, let's go ahead and get started. Following the success of the NES Classic Edition, Nintendo saw an opportunity to release more awesome retro games bundled in a small package, perfect for those wanting to relive the old days and the people experiencing them for the first time. So, what's the value of what you're actually getting? And is it worth it? Well, the SNES Classic Edition is jam-packed with 21 games. So, let's go ahead and take a look at what they've got. Contra 3, The Alien Wars, is the first game on the SNES Classics list, and in my opinion, an incredibly hard shooter. While this game is fun with a friend, it can be incredibly frustrating and a pain overall to deal with if you're a casual gamer. With the original cartridges going for $180, I would say this game is a skip, but there are reproduction carts for about $20, so getting an original console experience is pretty easy, and that would make it definitely a buy. Next up is Donkey Kong Country, and a good go-to game for any Super Nintendo fan. From thrilling single-player action that will test your abilities, all the way to competitive multiplayer to see who's better, you or your buddy, it is always guaranteed to give you a good time. You can find an original cartridge from anywhere from $15 to $30, and that makes Donkey Kong Country officially a buy. Third up is Earthbound, and is a known rare game with prices in the $200 range, and even up to $3,000 if you're getting a brand new in-box copy. And because of that, it is probably one of the most expensive games you'll be getting with the SNES Classic Edition. Reproduction carts still go for $40, and it's a tale about a boy who gets involved in a space war. Kind of. It's an RPG very similar to the Dragon Warrior series, and even though I've tried a few times to get through the game, it has stumped me every time because it is very grind heavy. I do think if you can find a good priced copy though, Earthbound is a buy. Following Earthbound is another JRPG, this time it's from Square, and it's probably one of the most famous games of the series, Final Fantasy III. With carts starting in the low $80 range and reproduction carts going around $40, it's going to put a dent in your wallet. This game does take patience, and you do have a ton of random battles. The story is great, and it has very memorable characters, but with modern-day quick-paced gaming, it's very difficult to get into. I'd say Final Fantasy III is a buy if you've never played the series and wanted to try it, but skip it if you're not into games that take a long time simply because you're doing the same thing over and over again. And they're off! Coming in as one of only 2 racing games to be featured on the SNES Classic Edition's game list, F-Zero is a fantastic addition for it. The game itself is only about $15, and it is a really fun racing game that's a little bit unconventional than the normal ones, while still having the same conventional means. And I do have a lot of memories of playing this with my cousins as a kid, and it was unlike any racing game I've ever played. This is in every way worth a buy just to experience F-Zero. Hopping along after the race is a little pink blob known as Kirby in Kirby Superstar. This is a collection of games from Kirby that I personally think are awesome. You get normal adventures that you're used to, but you can also be a samurai, punch through the earth, make a Milky Way wish, or fight the Great Dynablade. With prices ranging between $50 and $70 and reproduction carts more expensive than the originals, I'd say Kirby Superstar is a buy, and it is totally worth it. Kirby's Dream Course is next, and honestly, I think this game is a snore, but I think I know why it's here. Kirby's Dream Course is a mini golf-esque game that you can play with your friends that really reminds me of Marble Madness. You can pick it up for about $35 online for an original cart, and it's not super rare. When I was a kid, it wasn't even super popular, but the Game Grumps did do an absolutely hilarious series with that, and I totally recommend you check that out. As for the game, I'm calling it a skip. The Legend of Zelda is one of the most famous gaming franchises of all time, and it wouldn't be complete without The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. This is my all-time favorite Zelda prior to Breath of the Wild, and I recommend it for anyone new or old to the series. With a great story, tight gameplay mechanics, and a ton of hidden stuff for collectors, it's a great game for pretty much any gamer. Reproductions run about $30, with authentic arts around $100, and this game is a buy no matter what. If you want the collector version, spend the $100 because it is worth it, though you might have to replace the batteries as they're getting kind of old. When this list was announced by Nintendo, I was beyond excited to see one of my favorite games of all time. Mega Man X is the follow-up to the classic Mega Man series that includes new dash controls, collectible heart and armor pieces, X, Zero, Vile, and Sigma, and set up a story for another 11 games counting its PSP remake. Priced from $20 for a reproduction cart to $50 for an original, I highly recommend you buy it. As a matter of fact, this game is so much fun, I go back and beat it at least once a year and 100% it just to enjoy it again. And it is one of the best games of all time. Go get it! Following my favorite game on this list is Secret of Mana, and this game I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with. I've always thought it was cool because it was like Final Fantasy, but also like Zelda. It's a fun balance of RPG and adventure gaming, and it's multiplayer. The reason I hate it, though, is no matter what, I was never able to get past the beginning of the game as a kid. I don't remember a lot of the reason why, but I just kept losing against the antlion, and people watching are going to laugh if they remember it. But it was really hard for me. I don't know why. I really want to go back and play it, though. The only thing is, with authentic copies in the $150 range and reproduction carts around $30, I would say it is a little bit more expensive, but it is a buy, even if it didn't rock me like a hurricane as a kid.
Good luck.
Coming up next is two games that I'm actually going to be covering at once, Star Fox and Star Fox 2. These are both rail shooter games. One was released, one never was, and they did spawn a series of games, but outside of Star Fox 64, none of them have received much critical acclaim. I've personally played Star Fox, and I think the game is absolute trash. In the 90s when it came out, it may have been a great game, but it aged like milk left out on the counter. You can get a physical copy of Star Fox for around $20, and ROM versions of Star Fox 2 for around $60. Either way, these are very polygonal Super Nintendo rail shooters, and you can get the same experience, but better, on basically every other system. Star Fox and Star Fox 2 are games that you can skip and never have to worry about missing out on. I do also want to point out, Star Fox 2 could completely change my view of this, but given the ROM that I've tried out for it that's been available for a while, I wouldn't hold your breath. Street Fighter 2 Turbo Hyper Fighting takes up the next slot, and if you know fighters, then there's nothing to say about this game you don't already know. If you don't know fighters, Street Fighter 2, in its 1,000 different versions, made the fighting game genre what it is today. Guilty Gear, King of Fighters, and even Super Smash Bros. Have all drawn vast amounts of inspiration from Street Fighter 2. Depending on the version of the game you get, it will run you anywhere from $10 to a couple $100, and no matter which version it is, I'd say it's a buy. Even if it is just to school your friends a couple times, you know. Super Castlevania 4 is next, and I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've played 3 Castlevania games in my life, and this is not one of them. So, I did what anyone should do, and I asked my good friend, the Hibiki TMD, who you should all go to subscribe to right now because he's a master of the old school, about the game, and found out some cool info. With updated graphics of the Super Nintendo and more precise controls, Super Castlevania 4 is basically a remake of the original, but with omnidirectional whipping and the use of Mode 7, it's the best kind of remake. For Super Castlevania 4, you're looking at $20 for a reproduction cart and over $200 for an authentic cart. Given that I hate the original because of crappy controls, iffy graphics that hide enemies, and overall frustrating movement, I would say this is a skip. But given Hibiki's love of it, I would say 100% this is a buy because he knows his games. Another Super game following Castlevania is Super Ghouls and Ghosts. This game is very similar to Castlevania. It's a side-scrolling shooter beat-em-up combo that is insanely difficult. This is the first game I ever played where I was completely unable to beat the first level, and I regularly refer to it as the hardest game I've ever played. Even though it is hard, it is also fun to play, even though it can be frustrating at times. For around $30, you can get an authentic cart, and I would say it's a buy, even if it's just to prove to your friend who, is super good at games and saying he can beat anything, isn't really as good as they think they are. Continuing the naming trend is Super Mario Kart. This is the game that started it all. It introduced the races, battles, and racers that you and your friends have fought over for 20 years. Well, it does have some really bad things about it, like some of the maps don't work out that well and the items are really, really random. It's still hilariously fun, and even the people who don't really like racing games will love this game. You can pick up an authentic cart for just $40, and I'd say you should definitely do it, and this is a buy. The second Mario game on this list is made by the same people who made Final Fantasy and is Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. The first thing that I can say about this is the music in this game is absolutely fantastic, and it will get stuck in your head. I regularly find myself humming along to it just on my spare time. It's going to be with you forever if you ever do play it. Gameplay-wise, it's incredibly repetitive, and it takes hours to beat different color variations of the same exact enemy. You're gonna fight a blue wolf, then you're gonna fight a pink wolf, then you're gonna fight a gray wolf. They're all gonna have the same attacks, but you still have to go through and fight them all. And this game is gonna set you back at least $60 for any cart, and a lot of fans might hate me for this, but music aside, this game is a skip. The third, but not final Mario game, is Super Mario World, and it is a classic. Featuring Yoshi's first appearance in a Mario game, as well as featuring multiplayer, a vast world to explore, and the same gameplay you remember from the original games, Super Mario World is a great addition to any game collection, and the game is only going to cost you around $25 for an authentic cart. This is definitely a buy. Next on the list is a Nintendo World Championship game, Super Metroid. This is the third game in the epic Metroid franchise that sees Samus once again taking on Mother Brain and her crew of space pirates. This game took the original Metroid and expanded upon it so much that this is the defining game of the Metroidvania genre. You can get a reproduction card for $20, and I don't know the price of it authentic. I was unable to find one. And the one person I saw who bought one recently, instead of giving me a price range or, something to give me a hint, told me I should be ashamed for asking prices. For the record, don't ever be that guy. We're all collectors, we're all looking to find out how much it is so we don't break the bank. Help each other out. As for Super Metroid, it is 100% a buy. Super Punch-Out is the last Super on this list, and the follow-up to Punch-Out featuring Mike Tyson, or Mr. Dream. Past licensing issues aside, Super Punch-Out is a fun game that is far more forgiving than the original. It's also a pretty cheap game at around $25 for an authentic cart, and I'd say it's definitely a buy. Plus, you can live out your Conor McGregor versus Mayweather fantasies, kind of, because he plays a redhead. Kind of. The final game on this list is Yoshi's Island. In this game, you take on the role of Yoshis as they protect Mario on their adventure, since he's a baby. This was always a harder game for me than Super Mario World, but I really enjoyed it. It has seen a number of re-releases and overall is a great game. Authentic carts will run you back about $120 and a reproduction will be about $30, but it's definitely a buy as well. Whew! That was a lot of games. And now that we've covered all of those, let's take a look at the overall prices, compare the availability, and see if the SNES Classic Edition is worth a buy. For the SNES Classic Edition, you're spending $79.99 and getting 2 controllers, a game console that has emulated versions of these games, and it is all in glorious HD retro graphics. For authentic carts, you're looking at spending on the lower end around $1,405, and that's just for the games. However, this is the only way to get the original versions of the games without emulating them. For non-authentic carts, you're looking at around $635, and definitely lower since they're reproductions, but there's a fourth option that I did not discuss earlier. Since we spoke about emulation before, there's the Wii U Virtual Console, and the question is, how much of this is available on that, and for how much, assuming you have a Wii U? Well, I looked into it, and you can get most of these games, although it doesn't have some of the big ones like Secret of Mana, Final Fantasy, and Star Fox 2, and to get the games that it does have, it would set you back $128.84. So, outside of illegal emulation, is the SNES Classic Edition worth it? Well, unless you've purchased all those games previously and are holding on to them, I would 100% say, without a doubt, the SNES Classic Edition is a buy. That is, of course, if you can find one. Pre-orders have went up and been gone in a few minutes a few times at this point, but Nintendo is saying there will be systems available on launch. We'll find out if Nintendo's telling the truth later on this month. As for you guys, thanks for watching, and if you want to know more before you buy, don't forget to click on that subscribe button. I'd also appreciate a like if I helped you out in your decision, and maybe even share it with your friends so they can help make up their mind too. See you next time!